We tend to believe that the most important decisions in life are the ones we make slowly. We picture calm rooms, time to think, options weighed carefully. We associate intelligence with deliberation and wisdom with patience, and in many contexts, that belief serves us well. But elite sports reveal something deeply uncomfortable. Some of the most consequential decisions that human beings make happen not in minutes, not in seconds, but in milliseconds. And what happens in those milliseconds tells us far more about performance, intelligence, and the future of human potential than most people realize. In my TEDx talk in December 2025, I spoke about a simple but confronting idea: milliseconds matter, which you can also find here. They matter not because they are dramatic, but because they are decisive. For example, by the time a cricket ball leaves a bowler's hand, the batter has already begun to commit. Not consciously, not analytically. The body moves before language arrives. The decision has been made before awareness catches up, and that is about 150 to 200 milliseconds. This is not instinct in the romantic sense, it is trained anticipation. Elite athletes do not react faster than everyone else, they recognize earlier. Their brains have learned to extract meaning from minimal information. A subtle shift in posture, a fraction of wrist rotation, a change in rhythm, a cue so small that it disappears into noise for the untrained observer. Milliseconds matter because the brain does not wait for certainty. It waits for just enough. Neuroscience helps us understand why. The human brain is not a calculator, it is a prediction engine. It constantly forecasts what all happened next based on patterns learned through experience. Conscious thought is slow. Pattern recognition is not. Elite performers do not see individual events, they see structures. And when those structures appear, action follows automatically. This is where sport becomes a laboratory for human cognition. Because unlike many professional domains, sport punishes hesitation immediately. There is no grace period, no second chance to think again. Delay itself becomes an error. What looks like bravery is often simply commitment without time. AI operates in a similar way. Machine learning systems do not reason in the human sense. They identify patterns across vast datasets and make predictions based on probability. They act not when they are certain, but when confidence crosses a certain threshold. We can also refer to that as a confidence interval. At first glance, this similarity is seductive. It tempts us to believe that human decision-making and AI decision-making are converging. But this is where the distinction becomes critical. Athletes decide with consequence. Every decision carries physical risk, emotional weight, and social meaning. There is no abstraction layer. When an athlete commits, their body absorbs the outcome. AI, by contrast, predicts without consequence. It does not suffer injury. It does not feel regret. It does not carry responsibility. This difference matters profoundly. In elite sport, decision-making is inseparable from accountability. The body cannot outsource blame. The nervous system learns because failure hurts. Success matters because something real is at stake. This is why decision-making in sport becomes embodied wisdom rather than computation. Milliseconds matter not just because of speed, but because of irreversibility. Once a decision is initiated, there is no rewind. The commitment itself changes the future. In that sense, elite sport mirrors life more closely than most analytical models ever could. By the time you are aware of the decision, you are already living with its consequences. For example, when driving a car and making a sudden decision to avoid a collision, this is where training becomes philosophical. Elite athletes or high performers do not train to make perfect decisions. They train to make good enough decisions under uncertainty. They rehearse chaos deliberately, perhaps at times through simulations or even virtual reality training. They expose themselves to fatigue, pressure, and distraction, so that decision-making becomes robust rather than fragile. They do not aim to eliminate error. They aim to recover instantly. That ability to recover, whether it is cognitively, emotionally, physically, is as important as the decision itself. The danger in many modern systems is that we evaluate optimization and undervalue resilience. AI promises precision. Sport demands adaptability. When systems optimize for efficiency alone, they become brittle. When environments change, and they always do, brittle systems fail catastrophically. In sports science, we also refer to this in part as task constraints for elite athletes. Elite athletes survive because they expect disruption. They are not trained for ideal conditions. They are trained for reality, and most of the time are well equipped to adjust to a variety of conditions. This has enormous implications beyond sport, in academia, leadership, and professional life. We often equate good decision-making with having more time, more information, more analysis. But complex systems do not wait for certainty. By the time all the data arrives, the moment has passed. The future will not reward those who think the longest. It will reward those who recognize it the earliest as well as efficiently. AI will increasingly assist with pattern detection, simulation, and prediction. It will help us to see things we could not see before, but it cannot replace the human capacity to decide when stakes are real and responsibility cannot be deferred. This is where humans retain an advantage, not because we are faster processors, but because we are meaning makers. Elite athletes teach us their decision-making is not an intellectual event, it is a relational event. It involves body, environment, history, emotion, and identity, all as a confluence. It is shaped by what we value, what we fear, and what we are willing to risk. No algorithm carries that burden. The real danger is not that AI will make decisions for us. The real danger is that we stop training our own judgment. When humans defer too readily to predictive systems, they weaken their capacity to commit under uncertainty. They lose the muscle of responsibility, and that muscle, once lost, is difficult to build. Milliseconds matter because they revealed who has prepared, who has paid attention, and who understands the moment deeply enough to act without explanation. They expose the difference between knowing about something and knowing within it. Elite athletes do not have the luxury of hesitation. Neither will we. The future belongs to those who can integrate intelligence with courage, data with judgment, and speed with integrity. AI will help us see patterns, but humans must still decide what those patterns mean and what we are willing to stand behind when the moment arrives. Milliseconds matter because life does not pause for reflection. It rewards preparation. And preparation ultimately is not about thinking faster. It is about learning how to see, decide, and act sooner. Until next time.